Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel and my series of live streams. Sorry that we were 2 to 3 minutes late. For once in my life, I am not to blame for this. But shortly I'll be introducing everyone to the guest who will be joining us during this live stream. I hope everyone is comfortable. Get a tea, get something, a drink, and make sure you like and send in your questions in the comment section. So yeah, I'm just gonna introduce our guest. Sohaib, if you just want to kind of tell us who you are, just briefly summarize like your story kind of thing, and explain the title. You promised that you would explain the title of this video because he wanted it to be super clickbait, which it is, I think.
Okay, so the reason that we chose this title is supposed to be really ironic. It's supposed to be like satirizing how like the YouTube culture of really going out and like really being really exaggerated and using all these crazy visuals when like it doesn't even really match, and the clickbait culture and how like it's developed so far into even the nichest of YouTube. And I think a lot of your previous titles have been really, very sophisticated.
Thank you.
And
I thought you were going to say boring then.
No. Very sophisticated, so well thought out. And you know what? I was like, I want this one to be a bit of a meme. I want to really embrace. I really want to embrace what it means to be like a YouTuber these days, or a YouTuber, or like trying to, get clout. So I was like, how funny would it be if we brought that into like France, simply France? Another thing, this just proves my point. This morning I was going through my just homepage YouTube on my TV, and it was so sad. I saw so many clickbait. That was even more than us. And shall we say the original title, like what we came up with at first?
The original title we were going to go for is absolutely crazy. Saheb, say it. Saheb, say it.
UCAS gone wrong.
UCAS gone wrong. Saheb was about to make me put as the title #I almost died, because guys, this guy's story right here is so unique and just so inspirational, and the fact that he's managed to take something that could be seen as super negative and turn it into something so positive, empowering, and in this case funny, is just amazing. I'm actually so happy we didn't go for the title #I almost died. But yeah, I guess we'll get started with the live. This live is going to be about everything, I guess, Saheb's story applying to Oxford. He'll go on to tell you like how that went, how he went about dealing with rejection, and I guess advice for results day, because plenty of you watching this live stream will have your results day this Thursday or next Thursday. So we're happy to answer any questions regarding that. So Saheb, do you want to kind of get started with your first time round applying to Oxford? What's your story?
Yes. Okay. So, really, my Oxford journey first time began in 2018, and I was I realised I should just clear something up. Like, I was one of them ones that pretty much always wanted to go to Oxford. Do you know?
Yeah,
do you know how...
I actually wasn't, But I know,
really?
like, from conversations with you that you've always been, like, really, really passionate, and you could always see yourself at Oxford, which is amazing.
Yeah. I always it's just something that I always knew I wanted to do. I loved Harry Potter, so obviously that was a bit of a gateway. And I remember like in around GCSE time, I knew that I was getting closer to applying for university. And at first, I always thought I would do medicine.
Oh yeah, you did mention. Really, what was your thought pattern like navigating what kind of course you wanted to do at first? Because medicine and classics, which is what you originally applied for, are like either end of the spectrum. They're very, very different.
Very. I'd say medicine is like the ultimate kind of vocational STEM subject, whereas classics is basically the genesis of modern education. Well, modern education is very ancient, but do you know what I mean? So I guess like from like a very kind of like philosophical standpoint, you could see some connection how one is very almost like the primal education state, and medicine is very fast, modern, always evolving. So in that sense, I guess I kind of switched from that. But from medicine, I knew I liked the human body quite a lot. I wanted to be a doctor, and I originally wanted to do science A levels. Went to college thinking that I was going to do science A levels, and little backstory, I moved to Wales. I used to live in Surrey. I moved to Wales in 2017, and that move kind of made me realize a lot. And I was like, I don't think I think after I got my GCSEs, I was like, I don't think I really want to study chemistry anymore. I was like, you know what, gonna change my subjects. So I changed my subjects, and that was when I really let go of medicine. Like, truly, I was like, okay, clearly I'm not gonna be a medic. I used to be there, like Seren talks or kind of networking events with the NHS and stuff. I used to go up to those people and be like, can you be an actor and a doctor at the same time? And they used to look at me like, and my example always used to be, but Harry Hill's a doctor, and they were like, yeah, to be fair, he is. But knowing what I do know now, I am glad that I made the switch to humanities. So then I switched from chem, bio, the typical med, combo. I switched to English, lit, psychology, drama. And everyone in Wales, or mostly everyone that goes to a state school, has to do a compulsory A-level set out by the Welsh government. It's called the Welsh Baccalaureate, which is basically just business studies. That's basically what it is: business, politics, and a bit of everything else. And through that, I kind of, but the thing is, I never really knew. Okay, well, I'm not going to do medicine at Oxford, but what else am I going to do? I knew I wanted to go to Oxford. I loved it. I always looked really into it. I remember, thinking how cool it would be to go to a university that looked so much like a castle. That's like sure. Really. Sure. I really romanticized it in my brain. Like, I'm telling you, which is, we'll talk about that maybe at the end. Is that toxic? Is that feeding into a really negative kind of? We need to explore. Standpoint, yeah, and. As I was researching, and I used to spend hours, I'm telling you, hours weekly just going through the Oxford website, looking at different courses, and I became really, knowledgeable, I guess, and what different courses were. I looked at a lot of different courses, and I remember very, very distinctly coming across classics. I was like, classics? I've never heard of classics. And clicked on classics, and first paragraph I read was, I remember the words philosophy, languages, literature, just history, just leaping out of the page. And that just appealed to me so much because I knew I wanted to study such a broad subject. And from there, I actually applied to Unique, a summer school, and crazily got a place. And I have to admit, I didn't actually know that classics was just limited to ancient Greece and Rome. I think that's something that I did make a mistake where I thought it was just you just study a bit of everything, but no, it's actually you study the Roman and Greek antiquity, right? And through Unique, I kind of realized that actually no, I really like humanities and I really want to, but maybe classics isn't for me because it is quite restricting in that maybe I don't want to just stay in the Greek and Roman periods. I want to broaden out a bit more. And at the same time, I was doing English Lit A-level, and that really, I loved it. I really loved it. It really was so engaging. It was the only subject where I went in and I learned, and it wasn't a subject that I only studied. It was something that I constantly grew and learned. And in literature,
more of a passion for it.
Exactly. There's no end. There's no telling when you can really stop learning about a particular play or a novel. And I love that idea. And I thought, you know what? Maybe I want to do classics in English. And I actually applied for classics in English. And in January 2018, I found out that I didn't get a place. And you know what? Rightly so. I was not good for the course. I enjoyed classics, but I did not know enough about it, and maybe we can talk a bit more at the end about why, compared to some of the people that are applying who had studied classics from the age of 7, how different. I always think in an alternate universe, if I had gone to a private school where I knew that the interest that I had in me about the Roman gods, or sorry, not Roman gods, about ancient Greece and ancient Rome and history. Actually, you can study them through classics, and if I had done that from an early age, I definitely would have
You may have had
studied
that
classics.
advantage.
And
So hey,
yeah,
do you know that there's a
yeah.
question that's sent in that like kind of relates to what you're saying? So I guess we could like kill two birds with one stone and answer one of the questions
Yes.
because it's literally asking what you're about to talk about. And this is sent in by Study for Life 10, who asks, did you go to a private school, as classics and ancient languages are often not taught in state schools? And then the next question that they sent in asks, how do you feel about diversity within the classics course? So I guess you can kind of explore that question within like the answer you're already going to give.
I'd love to. That's a great question. Okay, I did not go to a private school. I did not go to a private
Gotta clarify that up.
Actually, you know what? Okay, this is really weird. I remember being in like year 11 and realizing actually in Pakistan the education system is quite different, and technically I did go to private school there, but it's like it wasn't it wasn't what private school is here. It's like
in Pakistan,
education in Pakistan is not.
In Pakistan, is it like similar to in Cameroon in the sense that like all schools are paid for? There's no such thing as like public schools. Most of them are private.
Exactly. So I guess but I have to acknowledge that. I have to acknowledge the fact that I was privileged in a country where there is a lot of progressive socioeconomic development still, and but coming to the UK, I've been state school educated all my life, all my life in the UK, and I have never even been to a school where classics was taught. I've never been able to. I was never at a school where either Latin or Greek or even ancient history was taught. And coming back to the part 2 of the question, how diverse I think the course is, I think it really does depend on what area, where you're looking at, what university. I know from at Oxford, there is no diversity and classics at Oxford. Those two just don't even like align, I think, because there is just at the moment, there is no room to allow for diversity in the classics course. I think the only part I can really say is that the Oxford courses and the Cambridge course is really unique in that the faculties there really made an effort to increase a diverse cohort in like the 60s or 80s and 70s. So what they did was actually quite revolutionary in back in the day. They made it so that you didn't actually have to study, you didn't have to have any prerequisites in Latin or Greek. So you didn't have to have Latin A-level or Greek A-level. You'd simply have to have studied, you just had to interview and perform really well in the admission cycle, but they stopped asking for Latin and Greek A-levels, which was a massive step.
Do you know that's actually so important to highlight? Sorry to interrupt. Because a lot of people, myself included, I thought that if you want to study a course such as classics at university, that you had to do Latin or ancient Greek at A-level, which you've just said is not the point.
Yeah.
So I guess that highlights the importance of kind of doing your research and like finding out for definite whether your university requires a certain course or certain grades. Because that just goes to show that like a course such as classics, although kind of there's an imbalance in who's most likely to go on and apply, it's still kind of accessible to everyone. It's open to everyone.
Yeah. Yes, that's a great word. I think it's accessible, but is it diverse? No. Is it accessible? To some extent, yes, because it allows So I'll just go back to So the classics, there's actually they split the course in two. There's classics I and classics. So II, so Classics 1 and Classics 2. Classics 2 is a 4-year BA course, and the first year is rather like an foundation year. So you study the ancient language that you are intending to study for the rest of your degree. And that's how it's split. So it allows you to actually take the first year and use it to build your language knowledge. And you take language classes from like from literally first term to the end of first year, and it's quite intense. So you learn the language in first year, and then the rest of the 3 years is identical to the Classics 1 course. Is it now what you actually study? That's actually a really big debate in classics right now. One of the biggest classicist at the moment is Mary Beard. I don't know if you've come across her. Mary Beard is she's she is so accessible. She's done so many documentaries for BBC. She's done radio shows. She's done countless many talks, lectures. She's really great. What she discusses a lot is classics at the moment is very much oriented around Greek and Roman archaeology, history, literature, and actually, is it time that we start to think about in the same time period about Middle East and about North Africa, and because those areas were quite important in a lot of the things that we have today. And she actually, there's a quote from her. It's not. I'm going to paraphrase, where she said, "Not studying the Persians, not studying Turkey, not studying North Africa, is a bit like teaching World War II in schools without learning about the Germans." Imagine if we were taught about
That's so
English,
crazy.
English part. Yes, yeah, exactly. It's so crazy. It's crazy that the classics as a course is designed only to study those time periods when actually there was so much wide stuff going around the world.
When you kind of use that analogy, it kind of shows how like nonsensical it is in a sense. Cause it's like you wouldn't do that in regards to World War II. So why would you do that with a classics course?
So what you actually study is actually under a lot of debate right now. Oxford is actually discussing maybe should we remove the Greats. Now, the Greats is a massive paper, massive part of the classic degree, and I believe what it is you study either the Odyssey by Homer, Aeneid, Aeneid by Virgil, the Aeneid. I've forgotten. Oh my god. Right, so there's like two or three really important like Greek texts, like novels that basically like revolutionized like Western poetry, and they're considered as like one of the first novels or really long poetry. And Oxford actually thought about actually getting rid of them completely and being like, maybe should we axe them, because basically what it does is actually puts people who have already done the Latin or Greek A level to an advantage, because basically when you come to do your finals, you're still going to be compared to your counterparts, because the database, I think, is still it still considers everyone. So like how only a certain quartile gets a first, a 2-1, etc. Right?
Yeah.
I believe Oxford still actually makes everyone under the same umbrella, regardless of whether you do the classics 1 course or 2. I think that's where the problem comes from.
Okay.
Yeah. So is there another question or?
Yeah, thank you so much for explaining kind of like what the classics course is like, and hopefully if we have any aspiring classicists, either keep sending in your questions or make sure to get in touch with Sohaib. I'll put his details in the description bar below. I guess the next one kind of links onto the next part of the story. So you already spoke about how you originally applied to classics and then transitioned to wanting to apply to English. Now could you kind of explain what results day was like the first time round and the second time round? I know it wasn't I know you didn't have the A-level results day, but actually you did. I know like the Oxford results day is slightly different to the GCSE A-level results day, but I guess it kind of is like a similar environment in a sense. So the next question sent in by Phoenix is how stressful was results day for GCSE? And I guess you can kind of generalize it for A-levels and for Oxford as well.
A-level GCSE results day was I think quite very stressful for me, because I actually received my results a day later.
Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, because I'm in a different degree and I had to have them mailed. So as by law, I think you are not allowed. I think your results are not allowed to leave the exam center that you completed your exams in until a certain time. So they actually have to be posted after everyone else has collected them. So I was like, well, can you not just do it a day before? They were like, no, that's not within our legal boundaries. We're not allowed to do that. to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So because I'd moved school, I'd moved to Wales at the time. I had to have them posted, so I had to wait a day, and it was, you know what, it was torture.
I
Like,
can
imagine
imagine.
watching everyone else.
I mean, I can't
Watching
imagine.
everyone. Imagine watching everybody else open their results, and like, obviously you're not
Social
really
media is
there.
going
And
crazy.
It was even more. It was even more alienating because I couldn't actually. I didn't know any teen. I was away from like any teenager because like where I was living was basically just. It was just old people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't know a single person my age, and it was just the most like alienating, like bizarre experience. Because I was like, I just want to be like around these people. Like I want to be
People who
opening
are
my
your
GCSE
age,
results
people
with
kind of
my
going through the same thing as you.
Exactly. And no one was. I didn't know anyone that was like me, so I just opened my results by myself. They came in the post, and I was in the kitchen, opened them, and I was really. At the time, I was quite happy, but I think I knew inside, like, I wasn't really. I knew that I could have done better,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's a really hard thing to go through when you are happy with your results, but you know you could have done better.
Yeah, it's definitely something to address because a large part of kind of being so academic and ambitious, which I assume a lot of the watchers are here, who are here, will be because they're aspiring, to go on to universities such as Oxford and Cambridge, is that especially if you kind of go to a state school where academics is not that great, when you aspire to do really, really well for yourself, and then on results day, you kind of don't get the grades that you want, but you still do well. For example, you're aiming for, all A stars or a couple of A stars, a couple of A's, and then you end up getting a few B's and you're disappointed because you could have done better for yourself.
Yeah.
Whereas, and then other people kind of make you feel bad for not being happy with your results by saying, oh, but you got a B grade, I got a D, like you should be happy. And it's this whole kind of debate as to like your grades are your own grades and it's your own journey, and you know what you could have been like, and you have to kind of balance that against kind of not trying. And anyways, for me, it was kind of a balance between not trying to make other people feel bad, because if, say, I was complaining about an A grade whereas someone else got an F grade in the same subject, then I was scared as to the message that I was sending to them.
Exactly.
Is that something you were kind of going through, Saheb?
You don't want to be the person that's making other people feel less than. But that's not. That's why I feel like the position that I was in, opening my grades like the day after. I don't know. I think actually looking back, I think that might be a positive thing in hindsight, because it meant that I could deal with it by myself and I didn't have people to compare with. I think comparison is the thief of joy. Loads of people have heard that. Right?
Throwing in some proverbs then.
Yeah,
comparison is the thief of joy.
I don't know. Yes, that's exactly what happens in results day, and you know what? That's what makes it so difficult. And that's why the day is like just dreaded, because we don't. It's not just about grades. I think people need to. I think a lot of adults really mistake it as well. I like my friends are, because I now have like an unconditional from Oxford because I've done my A-levels. A lot of my friends at the moment who are offer holders haven't received their grades yet. They're waiting until Thursday, and I can't imagine having the feeling of results day, because it's not just about letters, and it's not just about, oh my god, I didn't get an A, I wanted a B, or it's not about that. It's about I think there's a lot of different complexities to results day. It's about this. If you think about it, teenagers, we all like spend more time in school than we did at home. Do you know what I mean? Like, well, I mean, like, obviously when you're sleeping, I'm not counting that, but I mean, like,
no, but I'm pretty sure. I mean, the time that you're awake, you spend more time in school than anywhere else.
Your waking hours are spent in this realm of academia. So when results day comes up, it's kind of this massive. It is a massive deal, because it's like finalizing something that you spent hours doing, regardless of whether it's revised or not. It doesn't mean, it has a lot of symbolic value, as well as a lot of aesthetic value, because what aesthetic do we assign an A grade rather as opposed to a C? That's another topic. But and a lot of my friends, I sympathize with them as well, because it's just more than it's more than a grade. Do you know what I mean?
It's
your hard work. It's you. I remember in my AS grades, I got an A, a B, and a C, and I was absolutely like, I was gutted. I was gutted because I thought that I really tried my best, and I did. But I think what I realized was I didn't try my best. I tried my best too late. I think that's what I realized.
I
And
think,
the
sorry,
G
kind of linking on to what you said, the fact that like as ambitious students, we put so much into our GCSE and A level grades, it can feel like they become a part of our identity. So results day is so much more than,
exactly,
receiving exam grades. It's receiving almost validation as to who you are, which I think looking
yeah.
back now wasn't a healthy mindset, because had we done badly, had I completely, flopped my A levels, then I would have been in so much despair. I think it's so important that we begin to separate kind of our identity from our studies. Yes, studies are a part of who we are, and that's, we value them so much, but we're so much more than our grades. We're so much more than the results, which I guess you can elaborate
Yeah.
on later on when you speak about how you kind of dealt with the rejection of kind of not getting into Oxford, kind of what lessons they taught you. And before you do that, this is another question. I'm just kind of reading through them all, which links onto what you were talking about. So Nagami asks, do you think it's better to open your results at school or at home? So if you had had the choice to have opened them at school,
Yeah.
would you have done so?
Yes. I think, yeah. I'll tell you why. I'll tell
Same.
you why.
I think I would have done so as well.
So, because of the catharsis that comes with it.
Catharsis. Okay, Oxford student.
Yeah.
Catharsis.
Because
That's not in my Lexus. You're gonna have to define that.
your lexicon, yeah. The catharsis, hashtag GCSE English Lit. Basically, it's just this relief of.
Oh right, okay.
It's a,
I do know what it means.
yeah, it's just relief of emotions after a particularly traumatic or despairing moment. Basically, if you simplify it, it basically means that once you're at like a rock bottom, the only way is up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We're all learning new things here today. We can obviously tell that Sohaib, English student. But yeah, carry on. Sorry.
No. Yeah. So I feel like there is the camaraderie. Like you said, I think what you said is absolutely perfect. Results day education, when it becomes such a big part of our identity, these are the places that we associate as the norm. You don't go into school and you don't realize that actually how much health and safety your teachers have to keep and bear in mind. Like, your parents entrust an institution to safeguard you for 39 weeks of the year. That's a massive amount of time. That's a massive amount of investment into your identity. So when you get your results, or when you get your whatever, having your friends there, having the people that were there with you, it feels like an end. It feels right to only do in the environment that it relates to. So I'd say, if you can, try to do it at school, because another thing is, this is also a tactical point as well. Your teachers are at your school. Okay?
Especially for A-level results day.
Yeah. Oh my God. I think it's a lot more tactical. It's a lot more, it's just a lot more, I think it's a smarter move to do it in school, because if you don't like it, you can go home. Do you know what I mean? And you don't have to necessarily tell anyone your grades. And I know that that's really easier said than done, but I would really advise you to go into your school, especially on A-level results day, or even on GCSE results day, because your teachers will be there. Your teachers will be there to guide you. If you do not like something, believe me, it's so hard to it's so hard when you're not in school to you just want to talk to your teacher about this particular exam, this particular answer that you just could not do if you were at home. And I think if you make a day of it, and being in school, if you are still not happy with your results, at least you will have seen your friends. At least you will have laughed and smiled. At least you would have gone away, walked home with a friend, or I don't know. You would have seen someone that would have brought your face. I think I know, because obviously I did my GCSE results at home, and then A-level AS results day. Yeah, so I know that I would, knowing obviously now, my AS results, I tried to like reapply. Sorry, not reapply. Like I wanted to have them reassessed and everything. It was so painful. Like having to email so many people with my AS grades, and with GCSE. Like if you're so happy with your results, you want to kind of share it. If you got an A star, you want to tell your teacher. You want to go up to her and you want to be like, oh, I got an A star. I got this, and you want to hear a validation. You want to be told. You want to be congratulated. And I think that school will really enable you to do that. So if you can, and if you are comfortable, go to your school and go with the right mindset. Do not compare yourself. Do not go in with the mindset
word.
no, this. Do not don't. I would say go to your school, but do not go in thinking that, oh gosh, this really high achiever is going to be there who I know will get an A star, because that's their personal journey, that's their personal mindset, and you don't know for sure. And like I said, comparison is the thief of joy. So if you are worried of like going into school because of being afraid that you will not get the best grades compared to some other people, don't worry. Go in. Your teachers still care about you. Your friends will still care about you, and it's all relative. It's all relative. It's all relative.
It's all relative. Yeah, that's such an amazing answer. You covered like so many questions within that one answer. Kind of to echo on from what you said about how it's just such a nice environment, especially when you're celebrating and you've got the results you want, to be in school, to celebrate with the teachers who helped you achieve those grades. But one thing I can say is that if you don't want to open your grades in front of everyone, but you kind of want the best of both worlds in the sense that if you feel like you're not going to do as well, so you'll need your teacher's support in terms of accessing how to get your exam remarked, or if you're an A-level student, how to like call universities for clearing. Maybe go to like a quiet room in your school, or if you drove to school, maybe go back to your car so that you're still within you're still close to school, but you're still doing it in a private area. I know a couple of my friends who did that, and that's absolutely fine. Like if you don't want to open your results in front of everyone, you don't have to. Similarly, if you do, like, go for it. I know in my case, oh my gosh, my story for results day was hectic. A-level results day 2019. I vlogged it. A lot of you will.
Video, by the way.
Pardon? You watched the video?
Video on it.
Yeah, I've got a
video.
Yeah, I've got a video on it. It's almost at 100k. I'm literally just watching, waiting for it to get to 100k because it absolutely went crazy. I think people watch the video for my parents rather than me, but no, just kidding.
My parents.
My parents. If you haven't already, go check it out. My parents are super cringy but cute. Definitely check it out. But yeah, so I went to school wanting to get my results so I could open them at home and do like a proper reaction. But as soon as I get into school, first of all, I turned up late, which I don't recommend. Please go as early as possible. I turned up around 1 p.m, which by then everyone had received their results. So teachers were essentially just waiting for me, because the teachers already know the grades that you got. They received the grades the day before. Yeah. So they already knew, especially my subject teachers.
Oh my god, I need to tell you my results story. It's touching on that. It's touching on that. Like, okay, continue.
We need to spill all the tea. But yeah, so I get into school with my camera vlogging, so cringy, talking to myself. And then I get into the sixth form centre, which is where they give out the results. And everyone's just there, like, smiling at me. I'm like, oh, why are they smiling at me? And then, like, my results have already been, I don't know if they've been opened or they never closed the envelope in the first place, but they hand it to me. And I'm like, okay, thank you. Like, see you later, guys. And then the head teacher's there, just like, oh, like, Franceska, you're not going to open your results. And I'm like, oh, okay. Everyone's looking at me and I could feel pressure to open them. But luckily enough, like, I don't mind sharing parts of my, like, that part of my life, as a lot of you will know. Like, I'm very transparent. Like, if I failed maths, which I really thought I would, I wouldn't mind sharing it with you guys. So luckily enough, like, that didn't faze me. So I just opened it in front of everyone, got my teacher to film me on my camera, which is the cringiest thing. And my reaction is so filtered down because I was literally opening my results in front of like 8-9 teachers. I did not know how to react. Whereas if I was at home and I opened my results, I would have gone around screaming. But yeah, that's my results day story. My teachers kind of pressured me into opening my results, which they shouldn't have. But I guess I got a better reaction video for my YouTube. Saheb, what's your story?
Oh, mine is very, very similar. Okay, I actually a bit of context, right? I've talked about how I got an A and a B and a C in AS, and I knew I wasn't happy. I was like, nope, no, not at all. I knew I wanted to apply to Oxford. I knew that those were not the grades that reflected me. But you know what? I also knew that I'd learned a lot in my like final moments of exam season. I learned a lot, so I knew that I knew I could do better if I had a second chance. So immediately I was like, you know what? I'm going to reset. I'm going to reset psychology and I'm going to reset drama. And I reset all of psychology, and I reset all of the drama written components. And the drama, oh gosh, drama A level. First of all, don't take it anyway. Like, it's very pointless. I say that as an aspiring actor and creative, okay? And I love creatives. I love creative education, but drama WBC is just absolutely just stare at a book that's like written in a different language and you will learn more.
I don't even know if we're meant to be saying stuff like this on my channel, because what if people are actually interested in doing drama? But thankfully, like, you've done it yourself, and you're an aspiring actor, so like I trust your opinion in that sense. Yeah. That's why I was laughing.
The only reason I wanted to take drama because I knew that I wanted to. It was my only chance to perform, to have the performing, right? So I loved some aspects of drama, sure. I loved the fact that I was able to write my own script, perform, have some of that. But again, it's very hit or miss. Anyway, my results day story. Okay, it was. My results day story. I knew that. So having retaken psychology, having had the worst, most intense, most crazy year of my life, I knew I knew that I would get like a D or like a C in all my subjects. I convinced myself. And I tell you, I don't just mean like, I thought I would get this, but really I knew that I was going to succeed. I was prepared. I was like, you know what, even if I get a D in English, I guess that's good. At least I didn't get an E. Do you know what I mean? I was so cynical that I was going to fail. And I walked into school proper scared. And you know what I did?
What did you do?
So around around my school there, just in the corner, there's an Asda. I was like walking. I was like, nope. Turned around the other way and went to Asda.
So hey, that's such a weird reaction, because surely you'd want to get it over and done with straight away. You delayed it.
No.
Oh my gosh.
I delayed it. And then I went to school, like, just heart beating, and you know the feeling. I'm sure you know the feeling. Like, and by the way, I'd waited, like, it was 3 months of pain. I wanted to know my grades so bad. On the day, I just didn't want anything to do with them at all.
Oh, it's right? So weird. It's actually so weird, because you spend endless sleepless nights like leading up to this day, that on the day you don't want it to happen. You just feel sick inside. But carry on, sorry. I'll talk about what I was going to say later on. Carry on.
So on results day, and I go into my school, make it there, and I get my envelope, and I plan to like elope. I was like, bye, I'm gonna go. And then my teacher's like, no. And there's a photographer right there, and I'm like, great.
Oh, I forgot to mention the photographer. Oh gosh, my experience is probably very similar to yours.
Yeah, I was hugging my friends. I hadn't seen them in 3 months, and all of that jazz. And it was really cute. I was like, I fully planned to just go. I was like, you know what, I results day, by the way, never goes good for me. That's something that I should say. My GCSEs, I didn't. Looking back, I was disappointed. AS, I was very disappointed. A level, I just knew that it was going to be disappointing. So I was fully planning on leaving. And as I'm about to leave, I'm like, I'm not going to open my results. And some teachers that I don't really know, but I do know, came up to me and they're like, no, open your results. And what they said to me, this line I will always remember. They went, well, I can tell you this. We're going to need you to stay after to take a picture.
Okay, that's already a sign that you've kind of done well. So that's one of the signs.
Hearing that was like,
reassuring.
I don't know, it was insane. Like, hearing that, I was like, no, you're lying. Like, surely not me. Like, are you sure? Yeah, you mean? Like,
yeah, you get that moment.
opened my results and 8-star, A.
Incredible.
And my brain couldn't.
That is so. Oh, I just dropped something. But that's so amazing how you went from A B, C, right?
Mm.
To A star, A star, A. Right.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
A star. No. A star, A.
That's still absolutely amazing. I mean, the fact that you did 4 A levels is incredible. And I. Carry on.
Sorry. I was just gonna say that. Looking at the whole day after that was just insane. It was full of joy. I was so happy. So things do work out. And you know what? I thought, nah, people just say that, but no, hard work does, and it will pay off. It will. If you're watching this, I don't know who I'm talking to, whoever I'm talking to, whoever needs to hear this. If you know that you have worked hard, and if you know in your heart that you deserve some kind of validation for your hard work, you will get it. You will. And no pandemic, no exam, no subject, no teacher can take that away from you. And this is not necessarily me encouraging validation by grades, because we should not trophize grades at all. But what I mean is, if in a world where we have created these myths, that's what grades are, myths, right? Which actually do credit a lot to your future. You should have what you want. You should have what you put into. I see it a bit like, in chemistry where, or in physics, like Newton's first law, whatever, like every action has an equal and opposite reaction.
Okay. I thought you were going along the lines of energy can't be created or destroyed. Okay, not that law. The other law.
You know what I was going?
Is that the?
I was going to, but then I was
like, physics in a long time.
Wrong science. I haven't done it in a long time. And then I was like, no. So, and it's actually physical. It's actually a universal principle that if you if you revise constantly, if you know that you performed well in your mocks, if you know that you were actually passionate about your subject, trust physics, I guess. Because I didn't.
Trust the process.
Trust the process. Trust the process. That's exactly it. I was so cynical. I think when you're so low and when you're so cynical, when you're so certain that it's not going to work out, I was like, but what does hard work even mean? Like, I knew that I'd done hours of revision every day, but I was like, yeah, but that's not hard work. I probably revised wrong. I always doubted myself. But please just hold on to your own principle. Just hold on to the fact that be good to yourself, be kinder to yourself, be kinder to your efforts, and just everything will just work out.
Amazing. I absolutely love that. And I think one important thing to say is that like although we believe that like everything will work out, it doesn't mean that you will not encounter failures during your journey to everything working out. Failures are a normal part of everyone's life, as Sohaib will say. And even in my kind of time in first year, I encountered a lot of failures. And something that V Kativu, another YouTuber, you guys probably know her, says all the times that failure and rejection is redirection. And especially Sohaib's story, that like his story just illustrates that principle so perfectly, in the sense that sometimes you need failures to either teach you an important lesson or to show you that the path that you were going down wasn't the right one. So in Sohaib's instance, which you can elaborate in a second, like the fact that you didn't get into Oxford for English kind of gave you that time for a classic, kind of gave you that time gave you that time to explore what you wanted to do further and realize that classics wasn't for you and English was, and in the end you managed to get in for English. Similarly, for results day, if you encounter a failure, it's not the end of the day, especially during this year's cycle when you haven't actually sat the exams. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to be really, really happy with the grades they got. And likewise, there's going to be a lot of people who are not going to be so happy. And you know what? Like, we can't really control what's out of our control, aka, the pandemic. And I know the government have done their best to try and develop a system that will give you the grades that are most reflective. But no, I think they've actually done their best. But there's always going to be flaws. There's going to so he was like, nope. There's going to be flaws, and like we already know the flaws. Some teachers overpredict a certain demographic, whereas there are certain groups that are underpredicted, which is a problem and which will cause problems with this new system. But as I was going back to my other point, failure, rejection is redirection. So if you fail this year, in results day for the exams that you didn't even sit, there is still the option for you to resit them later on. I think for A levels it's October time, for GCSE it's November time. I'm not sure of the exact details, but you know, if you got say an E this time round, if you were to resit it and get an A star, like surely that's like a good thing, although it kind of delays the time period and you getting to where you want.
It's doable.
It's so doable. It's so doable. From personal experience, in my mock exams, I got for English, I got a 3 in my poetry, which I think is equivalent to a fail. Yeah, so I thought I was going to fail. My English teachers told me, you know, an A star is like out of the story. You're probably going to get an A, like that's it. And on results day, I ended up getting a 9, which is like the best score I could have got in A levels. And obviously, it's not the exact same as what is going on now, but it just goes to show that it's so doable to jump from really poor grades to, you know, outstanding grades. It's so doable. Saheb, sorry, I cut you off so many times just then.
No, it's fine. Yeah, so I think I everyone always said that, you know, it's doable, you can do it. What we mean by that, I hate when people say, I don't like advice that's not constructive and that's not structural. You know, when someone said believe in yourself, but how do you believe in yourself? How do you change like what's going on in your mind? And
how do you change that mindset?
Exactly, how do you change your mindset? And I like advice that tells you what to do in a way.
You're very pragmatic, you mean that it's practical.
Yes. When we say that you can do it, what we mean is you have the power, you have the ability to go to your teacher, and that takes a lot of guts. Talk to your teacher and say, I want to resit, or I want to reappeal. I want to appeal my grade, or simply I want to have a higher. I want to have a higher. I want to have a higher prediction.
Mm-hmm.
That's where your journey will begin. If you take those little steps, even, you know, talking to the teacher and being like, you know what, I'm trying to change my mindset. What can I do? And your teacher straight away, if they're nice, which I believe that most teachers are, if they're not, you know, come to us. They might be able to help.
I don't know if we would actually.
Yeah.
Not selling false dreams here.
They might be able to help you in a lot. So they will give you the direction. They will like tell you, and yeah, it will be hard work. Maybe they'll keep you 20 minutes behind and give you extra academic papers. For English, I had a lot of that. You know, I might have a lot. I might do extra 2 essays a week, or I might read like a Harvard Journal paper, or I might, you know, do that. Going beyond your curriculum takes time, and it takes a lot of effort, and it takes a lot of learning. And how do you go beyond the curriculum? Well, Google, you know, just Google psychology, Google most important discoveries in modern chemistry, and that's how you will start to learn rather than study.
That's how you make it more of a passion rather than, you know, just something that you have to do, a grade that you have to get. I guess that naturally links on. Oh, sorry, we need to stop doing this. We need to like communicate telepathically. We just interrupt each other. It's so funny. I was going to say, what we're talking about right now links on to the next set of questions that I've got up on the screen, which a lot of people have been asking about tips about getting into Oxford, applying to Oxford, and tips for A level. So I guess we can approach them in the same kind of answer. So, I mean, you went through the process twice. Is there anything you did the first time around when you were rejected from Oxford that you kind of can pinpoint as to the reason why you got rejected? Is there anything you did the second time around which was different?
Okay, that's quite interesting. What did I do anything different? First of all, I'd like to say that there is no cheating in these admissions. You can't trick the game. You can't play a game. So, actually, in many respects, what I did was identical, because I still did. So let's do a little run up to what you have to do to get into Oxford. Okay,
let's go.
In your year 12 or year 13, if you're gap year / reapplying, in your summer 20 or conventionally summer of end of year 12, you start your personal statement. Then you sign up for the admission tests and look on the website if your subject requires any admission test. You go to your school and you say, I want to apply to Oxford. I want to sit this exam. In my case, it was a CLAT. dreadful.
It's so
and
important
it
that
was
you
the
tell your
ESAT.
schools that you want to do the admissions test.
So important.
Because in my case,
Guys,
I
this is
didn't,
so-
and I ended up like applying late and had to pay more, which my school paid, but you know, I could have saved
Okay.
that money.
Yeah, someone in my school, when I applied in year 12, he was applying for physics at Oxford. He forgot to sign up to do it,
That's
and he
terrible.
didn't get into.
You can't,
he
like,
didn't get
they won't make any exceptions. If you don't sit the admissions
They
test, they'll
yeah.
say sorry.
Yeah.
Like, too many people apply for them to be making like leeway like that. So make sure you get the stuff done. Yeah. Carry on.
And also they can't. They literally can't, because they have to make like a little list, or they have to contact. They have to know exactly where they're gonna send these tests into, and it's a very independent process. I will have to say, literally, you have to be on it. Come back as soon as you come back from your summer holidays, go into your school and you tell them, this is the exam that I want to do. Talk to your exams officer. They will then sort out everything. That's when they'll kind of take lead, and they'll tell you, okay, this is what you're going to do, this is what you're going to do. And you might have to pay, but in most cases, you don't have to pay a single thing. Next, make your final draft of personal statement, and you should have started all your supercurriculars or your reading for that in the summer, hopefully. And
still got time, guys, by the way. You still got time.
Still got time. Definitely still got time. And then you should have also done your UCAS, and that's very, I think, kind of the easiest part of the process, because it's very much, you just type in your email, you type in your details,
like
you
all
type
the
in
technical stuff.
All the technical stuff that your universities will need to know about you. And then you do your test, and then you send in your admissions essays. Again, this is like something that has to happen like in literally like 4 or 5 days. Like, it's so fast. You have to write an essay. You have to write or in some cases write 2 essays. Send them to make your teacher mark it, or actually most of us cheat, because you're actually not supposed to write it twice. It's supposed to be original. Well, we all cheat.
Okay.
Well, it's not cheating.
You didn't hear it on my channel, guys. You didn't hear
It's
that.
not cheating. Sorry, it's cheating. It's not cheating. It is literally Oxford knows that most students will rewrite them. And what they mean is that obviously you're not going to have an essay that you're going to send in from like 3 years ago. Do you know what I mean?
I guess we must clarify that this is only for certain subjects. So written work is for mostly your kind of humanities subjects. So for medicine, there's no written work. For a lot of sciences, there's no written work. But for a lot of humanities, there is. Yeah.
And then once you've done that, you find out if you have an interview, I guess. And that's the most difficult part of the process. I swear to you, waiting for an interview kills. It drains the life out of you. Because you've just done a marathon. You've just done a marathon of this academic rigor. You've just absolutely gone here and there, spoken to the exams officer, done this deadline, done this email, still, read this book, and after that, it's all silence. Everything goes quiet. Your emails stop.
But I guess in the meanwhile, results from other universities will be coming in. So in a sense, it will give you the confidence boost, the tiny confidence boost, which is oftentimes needed.
Yeah. And what I would say is that exactly, and Oxford, by the way, shouldn't have to be your number one priority. Remember that. If you just want to apply to Oxford, but you're not sure that's going to be your firm, and actually you want to go to, I don't know, you want to go to UCL, and you know that's your dream university, absolutely give equal weight to UCL and all your universities as well, because at the end, Oxford is just one of the 5. It's not the first. It's not the top 5. There is no order. But UCAS will not prioritize Oxford or Cambridge at all, just because of the elitist synonymity. And once you've got your interviews, that's when the real kind of assessment of exactly. That's when it becomes real, and you're like, oh gosh, I could potentially get an offer to study at the University of Oxford. That's when it gets mad. But that's when it also gets fun, because you spend 5 days maximum in Oxford. For me, it was like 3 days.
For me, it was 2 days. But I knew people who'd spent like 4 days. It depends on the pooling process, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah. My phone is dying soon. I'm really sorry.
Okay. How many minutes do you think you have? Because literally, I'm thinking we can get through one more question, maybe. So, like 5 minutes. Do you think you have 5 minutes?
I've got 10 minutes.
Okay. 4 or 5 minutes is all we need anyways, because we've almost hit the 1 hour mark. But I guess we can like speed through this answer. So you were talking about like the interview process, how you spend like 4 or 5 days in Oxford, which is super, super fun. I guess you can kind of give tips for the interviews, things that you could have done differently, things you did quite well, and I'll talk about like medicine as well.
Okay, so when you're in the interview, I would really recommend. I want to make this point that I really wanted to make like on your channel.
Go on.
There's this real thing about when state school students apply. We get told your passion, you have to be really passionate, whereas because they know that that's what's going to make us stand out. But that can be really unhealthy, because I remember being like, am I passionate enough? And that enoughness. How do you define enoughness?
Where do you draw the line?
That's what I think. Yes, that's why I think the state school versus private school is more. It's very. The line is very clear that private school students have a more advantage, because they literally have Oxbridge classes. They know exactly when is enough. They know how much passion is required. They know how much you need to demonstrate at interviews. We didn't. So I went crazy thinking, have I read enough books? Have I read enough articles? Have I done enough podcasts? Have I mentioned enough text? Have I literally I couldn't relax, because I was like, well, no, I could be doing something productive, and that productivity can sometimes lead you to
it can be so toxic
unproductivity.
Sometimes. For sure. It can lead you to some like a form of burnout, which is definitely the most unproductive thing you want before like a big event such as an interview. And one thing we can mention is about how, because you're living in Oxford, you spend time like socializing with other interviewees. And one thing I must say is that you're going to have a split between the type of interviewees you have. You're going to have people who, like yourself, just kind of want to get through the interviews, aren't there to intimidate anyone or feel intimidated, and are just really, really nice and talk to everyone. Whereas you're also going to have people who, they're going to try and intimidate you. They're going to try and suss out the weakest links almost to try and make them feel so scared. They're going to be the sort of people who are going to be in the common rooms with their books, studying 24/7, trying to speak about academic things, which may seem intimidating. So, you know, if that gets to you, which it got to me, avoid those people. I was an interview helper this December, so I saw a lot of like next year's applicants.
And Fran was
I saw you. I actually saw you.
By the way, I will make like just a disclaimer. If I go off, like, it's because my phone has died. But let's keep talking. We're gonna keep talking. And I want to one of my top tips for interviews, right? Just absolutely, just go for it. Bro, just go for it. You're at a massive you're living there for free. I remember being there, like, Fran's like, bro, just have this hot chocolate, like. Hot chocolate as possible. Do you remember in the JCR, and you're like, bro, just live your life. Like if honestly, you've never been able to, like, if you're make an experience out of it, and just literally go for it. Like, it doesn't have to be intense. It doesn't have to be like crazy intense. You don't even have to think about getting an offer, bro. You can just be there and like, okay, I'm just gonna go talk about English, and that's it. That's literally all it's gonna be. People, and one of my important tips, oh my god, everyone seems to think that Oxford interviews are like the interviews in The Apprentice. They're not. They're not.
I was thinking more Dragon's Den. Like, as in a stereotype for like the kind of interviewees you're gonna get. Not gonna lie, I'd find Lord Sugar more entertaining than scary.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just me.
So a lot of people, a lot of the generic public as well, they're like, oh gosh, they must be really hard. And I'm like, no, actually, there were questions and there were moments where I did feel really intimidated, but not in the sense that I felt really degraded, in the sense that I was like, oh gosh, this question, this person that I'm talking to is like way above me in like what I'm talking about, and you just kind of feel a bit stupid. But that's fine, because guess what? This person has like 2 PhDs, they've done like 30 years of research, and it's okay for you to feel like you don't know anything as much as they do, because guess what? You probably don't, and that's why you're there. You're there not just to get a place at an amazing institution because you are really worthy of that, but because you are a potential learner. You are going to be learning from these people, and respect that paradigm, and that paradigm will help you in many cases. Just sit there and actually listen to them. Be like, oh yeah, that's really great. Talk, like, really engage them into the topic as well. If they ask you a question like, okay, let's look at this poem. Without knowing the author, what time period would you think that this poem is from? you might get this question, and instead of being like, I don't know, or being like, this is really dumb, talk to them about, vocalize your opinions, vocalize your thoughts. Be like, okay, well, considering the language here, considering the punctuation used here, considering the format, or etc., it may be this. And if you're wrong, guess what? It's not going to matter at all. What's going to matter is how you vocalize your opinion. In interviews, it's the journey.
Oh my
It's the
gosh.
journey to your answer. Not the
So
answer.
true. You stole that straight out of my mouth then. It's literally how far they can stretch you in a sense.
Man, I've got 30 seconds, man. I've got 30 seconds.
got 30
this is so
seconds?
chaotic, but I love it. I've got 30 seconds. Okay, what we're gonna do?
I don't know if we can do much. I don't know if we. Oh, I think
What even?
you've just gone sideways.
Oh no.
Oh gosh.
Yes.
Oh,
no,
okay.
shit.
You'll have
Of
to quickly
course,
say
I'm dying.
goodbye, so then I can quickly
I'm
answer some of the
dying.
other
I'm
questions.
dying. I'm dying.
Oh my gosh, I could put a hashtag. I almost died for real now.
I almost died. Literally, man, I didn't die. No, my phone's dead.
How's your phone dead?
Sorry,
and
I'm
you're
not
still
supposed to.
here?
I'm dead.
So, hey, we're gonna have to go.
My phone is dead.
You're gonna have to go.
Okay, I'm dead. I'm gonna go. I had so much fun. My phone is dead, but you're still there. This is freaky.
Saheb, say goodbye. Okay. Yeah, okay. I think he's gone. He's gone. Okay, let me quit Skype. Right, guys. Saheb is gone. And you're all left with me. Don't go, because I can answer a few of your questions. Oh, it's such a shame that his phone died, because he was definitely giving really, really important answers. But I guess I can, a lot of you have asked questions. I'm just seeing all the laughing comments in the live chat. This is great, man. I guess I can give advice for prospective medics. So your interview, this thing is often seen as like, and made out to be this massive scary thing. For me, it was more Dragon's Den vibes. For Saheb, it was more The Apprentice. But honestly, the one thing I can say looking back now is the tutors and the interviewers there are not there to catch you out. And that's often a misconception that I had, and a lot of people have, going into your interviews, that they're going to be these wicked, evil, dragons who will do everything within their power to catch you out. And it's not the case. I know that not to be the case, because when I was slipping up in my interviews and, saying a few things wrong, they were either correcting me or kind of leading me down the right path. And as Sohaib said, it's more about the journey. Oxford don't care about the knowledge that you came into the interview with. Obviously, to a certain extent, they expect you to be at a certain standard, like at least know what you've covered in your A-levels. But they don't care if you've kind of done years and years of extra reading in comparison to 1 year. It's all about how far they can stretch you within those 20 minutes of your interview. So, if you go in there not knowing anything about antibodies, enzymes, but by the end of the interview, they've managed to teach you like a year's worth of content, to them, you're an exceptional student, you're a teachable student. And I guess an important thing to notice is also the interview is also designed for the tutor to kind of get to grips with you as a student and to see if you'd be a student who they'd like to teach. So if you're teachable, which is something that I was told quite a lot. And at the same time, it's also the time for you to suss out whether the tutorial supervision, if you're at Cambridge, system works for you, because it's very unique in the sense that tutorials are essentially like you're being tutored. You're sat in a room with this world acclaimed leading academic in his field, and there's only 2-3 of you, and it can be quite intense in that sense. So a lot of people might not like the tutorial system. So whilst you're at your interview, it's also the time for you to find out whether the interview style, the tutorial style is for you. So yeah, that's definitely my tip for interviews. A couple of you have asked questions about so Mandy14 has asked some tips on how to stand out for competitive universities when applying to medicine. One thing I can say is that medicine is competitive absolutely everywhere, and unfortunately, because so many people actually go on and apply, there's so many steps that they need to take into consideration for your application. So you've got your admissions test, the UCAT, the BMAT, you've also got interviews, your personal statement, all that information is taken into account, also your GCSE grades. So one thing I can say for standing out is definitely capitalize on your strengths. So for me, I knew that my GCSE grades were really, really good. So I applied to universities that put a lot of weighting on GCSE grades, and universities that kind of gave extra points for GCSE grades. Similarly, because you do your UCAT before you apply, I knew that my UCAT was fairly, strong. So again, I applied to universities that put a lot of weighting on the UCAT. So in a sense, I would have stood out in the kind of pool of applicants. Another thing I can say is don't be cliche, especially with your personal statement. People say this quite a lot, but honestly, I know a lot of you watching this now will have wanted to do medicine since you can remember, but admissions tutors have read it endless amount of times on personal statements that people have wanted to become doctors since they can imagine, and people have wanted to become doctors since they learned how to talk, and that's not what they want to read. They want to read a personal statement that portrays a genuine reason as to why you want to do medicine, even if it ends up being as simple as, you have a passion for science, which ironically is very cliche. It's better that you're honest than cliche and try to fabricate really elaborate lies essentially as for why you want to do medicine. Another thing I can say is that in your interview, when you're asked why you want to do medicine, the admissions tutors aren't really ranking your answers because they know a lot of people will have rehearsed or pre-prepared answers for wanting to do medicine. That question is designed for you to kind of ease into the interview process. So at my Oxbridge interviews, the first kind of questions were, how are you? Or can you speak a little bit about something you're passionate about in science? And those questions were also there so they could assess my communication skills, but were mostly there for me to get into the ease and flow of interviews and to feel kind of comfortable. I hope that's kind of answered your question. I'm going to quickly answer one more. And a lot of people were asking me and Saheb if he was an international student. He's a home student. He applied from the UK. A lot of these questions are for Saheb, who unfortunately had to leave the conversation. Okay, right. I'm just scrolling through the questions right now, and there aren't any more for me. All the questions were for Saheb, so I guess I can end this live stream here and kind of just wish all kind of the year 11, year 13 students the best of luck for your results day. One thing to take into account is that your grades, honestly, they don't define you, in the sense that you can fail like this year and it doesn't mean your life is over. There's still options to resit, to retake, to reappeal, to go to your firm, your insurance university, and still do really well in life. Like, the fact that you're gonna fail this year, like the fact that you could fail this year, honestly, do not allow that to define you. And similarly, for those of you who will do well, which I think a lot of you will do well because you're all so hardworking, embrace that, celebrate, take time out to celebrate with your families because, you deserve it. This year has been crazy. We've lived through a pandemic, which is absolutely crazy, and we all deserve to celebrate and to treat ourselves. So always take that into consideration. I guess I'm gonna love you guys and leave you. Make sure that you send a like if you like this live stream, and stay tuned for the next couple of live streams that I will be doing on this channel. And see you guys later. Goodbye.